Are you looking to get started racing on Zwift? Or maybe you're already racing and are looking to step it up or play the game of Zwift a bit more effectively. Because let's remember, it is a game at its core. No matter what you're looking for out of Zwift and racing, we're kicking off Zwiftips by diving into a multi-part mini-series. From picking your event, getting prepped for the race, and then gunning for the win. Different types of racing bring different types of strategy needed to win. Flat races tend to be a bit more consistent in their speed and power required, and by that I mean that they are always on. So what's in today's episode? We'll cover the best way to handle a flat race once you've settled in from the start, all the way through to the finish. Let's jump in and see how you do. Jumping right into the first topic, hold your power-ups. Power-ups are one of the biggest difference makers when it comes to Zwift compared to IRL racing. If you've come into a sprint without one, and others have one, it's a very steep hill to climb in order to overcome it. Timing of a power-up usage can say a lot about a rider, and holding on to one can say even more. So what does that mean? Well, typically someone will pop a power-up not long after they get it, or in less optimum situations if they're suffering. So paying attention to others, and when they pop their power-ups can say a lot. But also note that this could say something about how you're feeling as well. Learning when to deploy a power-up will change your ability to race. Feathers are good for climbs and elevation gains. Draft, which is the truck, is good for when you need a breather in the peloton or are looking to reduce a gap to a bunch. And arrow helmets and breakaway burritos are best for breakaways or sprints. If you're feeling strong and have a power-up that you feel will suit your finish, hold on to it as long as you can, until the finish if you feel comfortable and it's possible. Moving into the second topic, understanding the breakaway. Breakaways in Zwift are extremely different from IRL racing, especially when double draft is in effect. They can be extremely hard to establish and even harder to actually make stick. The pack dynamics in Zwift make the pack much stronger and faster than most breakaways will ever be, so long as the breakaway isn't too large and the pack is putting down some effort in the chase. This doesn't mean that all breakaways are doomed or bad. It just means you have to be very careful about which moves you look to follow and which ones you plan to make yourself. Breakaways typically will only work in a couple of different cases. First, if the bunch is tired. Second, if the breakaway is a stronger group of riders than the remaining bunch, either in number or power. Third, on certain terrain like a climb or hard sections of road, like dirt or similar. Or fourth, when the breakaway becomes the main group due to attrition and the main group falling apart. Obviously, this isn't a guarantee and you'll learn what moves stick, but on flat races, breakaways are especially hard to make stick. Jumping into the third topic, watch for gapping on the final run-in. As you get close to the finish line or the last lap on a flat stage, the pace is likely to continue ramping up right until you get to the line where it hits its peak. This is where it's incredibly important to stay attentive at all times. Pay attention to where you are in the bunch, and watch out for being rotated to the back as riders keep moving forward. This is the washing machine at work again, and it's a strong foe in the finale. If you find yourself at the back, don't panic and slowly work yourself back up to the front. Avoid surging too hard because you'll need those matches at the end of the race. While you're back there, watch for riders slowly falling off the back of the pack. If your power is too close to theirs, you might get stuck drafting them, which is the infamous sticky draft, as they fade, and you might just get dragged out of the group's draft with them. This is the worst at the end of the race as the pace is highest and it's hardest to get back into the safety of the bunch. This is why positioning is important and trying to avoid tail gunning. If you get stuck in a rider's sticky draft, you'll then have to increase your watts enough to break free and move around them. And again, it's another match burned. Topic 4, plan your timing. Zwift sprints take a little getting used to. Remember, you're on a bike attached to a piece of technology, feeding to another piece of technology that then has to update in the game's world. Phew. All of that means that there's some delay between putting down the power and actually seeing your rider jump to life and start sprinting. So you always want to factor this into account, both when launching your own sprint or chasing someone down who has started theirs. Don't get discouraged, just know that your watts will take a little bit to show, but when they do, the sprint's on. Because of this, you'll want to start winding up your gears and speed as you get into the final mile or kilometer, whichever you use, so that when it's go time, you're not caught napping and struggling to respond. You'll be on top of the gear and it won't take as long to spin up and go for the win. So remember, you won't always be the person that starts the sprint first. Don't get caught napping. And the fifth and final topic, slingshot sprints. Contrary to what you might think, you don't want to hit the front of the group in the final sprint until the absolute last minute. Literally just before crossing the line if it's possible. Remember, the draft is incredibly powerful on Zwift, and power-ups only amplify this. That means your best bet is to rely on a Slingshot Sprint. So what does that mean exactly? It means like you'll see in the Tour or pro racing in general. You want to have a lead out coming into the finale. Now this doesn't mean you have to have a team that you ride for or rides for you. Just riders between you, the finish line, and the wind. This is what they call a Slingshot Sprint. When you come into the finish, wind up your gearing and speed in the draft. Pop your power up just a bit after everyone else, and use your wheels and draft to bring you to the finish. This is more of an art form than anything, and takes some learning to get perfect. But when done right, you will come to the front with an incredible amount of speed, provided you're providing the watts. And you should go soaring past people. This is where power-ups and timing mean everything. You will not likely get this right the first time. Keep practicing, don't give up. And that's it. You're ready to go to the next video in the series. There's so many facets to Zwift racing, and this is just a step in the process. Make sure to check out the next video, and hopefully I'll be able to keep shedding light on new parts of Zwift that either you didn't know about, or maybe you are learning about as we go along. For now, my name's Generally the Lost, and if you want to ask questions live or watch me race with my own advice, again, flawlessly, of course, make sure to check me out on Twitter or Twitch at Generally Lost. I stream 3 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain, and Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Mountain.